Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
John Kingerlee, a man of Cornwall, a man of the Muslim faith, and now some would say a major force in modern European art.
It sounds like a truism, but you do see more the more that you look. And at first sight, one thinks abstract painter, but there's nothing could be further from the truth. It is very, very firmly rooted in actually where he is located in Ireland and what surrounds him, what he sees, but also in his experiences and his memories. Those actually are very much live memories, and he carries those with him. And there is a lot of soul in these pictures.
Where do the images come from, John?
Well, the same place anything comes from. It's a complete mystery, isn't it? Whether it's a physical creation or what's coming out from inside of one. It's all the same affair. I mean, this is all a mystery. It's all a miracle.
Your work is, in some ways, created by the imaginings of those who view it.
Great. I don't want to... Everybody can see their own movie. They're going to do that anyway, but especially in my work, I hope. I wouldn't like to fix anybody to anything. Certainly not in that area.
John Kingerlee is a man at peace with the world, and it's that world of West Cork surrounding him and the images from the memory banks of his mind that give the work depth and meaning. The West Cork countryside has seduced the artist for all the time of his being here. He walks easily with friends and neighbours, and he's wise enough to value those whose families have been part of the land and the sea of this place for generations. A mountain graveyard holds those who have journeyed far in life to America beyond the horizon and who return to Kilcatherine for final repose. Barren fields often hold hidden treasure, like the orchids come upon by chance on a walk to the shore.
The light, the remoteness, the presence of the ocean, that bird singing, the breezes, the cleanness of it. That all makes it very special.
You're far west.
On the extreme of Europe, I believe. Dingle's further out, but not much. So we get the first of the weather off the ocean. And it seems a good place for creative people to be, on the edge of a very questionable civilization at the moment.
The two, artist and wife, have been together for 40 years. Their time in Ireland has brought them great peace, and strangely perhaps, it's a togetherness of the elements and what John sees as the real heart of his Muslim faith that has guided and led them through all the years of their living in that paradise on earth that is West Cork. The land and sea grow the paintings. There's an inescapable linkage with the mountains and all of the natural world. Heavy layers of oil build up, often over years, and eventually the completed canvas gives up to the viewer the trapped resonances of the countryside, the high times and the low times of a life remembered. The work in the studio can be frenetic, deft flourishes with palette knives, pigments that John mixes himself, and then, when the moment is right, a different approach that allows the build-up of paint to settle. The peacefulness of West Cork mirrors the calm that is the very core of the being of the artist. But in the midst of it all, the call for journeying is always there. And for a time each year, John Kingerlee follows an instinct that draws him into the very womb of our human existence, the continent of Africa. Morocco, with all its raw colour and culture, its frenetic madness, and in the observation of the artist, a place where humanity is exposed at its best, its most honest, and at its most challenging. The sights and sounds of the narrow streets, the Kasbah, the wheeling and dealing, the meeting and greeting, they all have a part to play in the life of the artist. Here is to be found a necessary creative dynamic, the challenge to capture and lay down the imagery that is obvious and the world that lies beneath. As the swallow flies south for sustenance of body, John Kingerlee comes to Morocco for sustenance of creativity and to unfetter the very spirit of his being. This, like West Cork, is the repository of the very soul of the artist, for whom nothing that is to be represented will be as it seems, and for whom the challenge of art is to guide the observer into the work to discover the hidden worlds that lie beneath the surface of the pigment. Truly, Kingerlee offers an adventure into the unknown on board the vessel of his art.
There are characters of North Africa everywhere around us. Are these various characters finding their way into your consciousness, and through that will find their way into your paintings?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I mean, everything that the painter sees affects him, or the artist sees affects him one way or the other. And sometimes you can see two people in the street doing something or something going on, and it's just gigantic in the imagination. And I certainly feel stronger colours coming on if I live longer in Africa. Though at the same time I know I'm going to go on painting with a lot of white for a long time, inshallah. It just goes on and on and on when you look at it. It's got such depth, white and off-white. Shades of white. It has an incredible depth, and in certain states of being it almost seems to move and shimmer in front of your eyes. That's lovely.
Do you feel that Morocco is changing you, and in what way?
For the better. For the better. Here you learn more and more you're just another human being. And one brushes up against the rest of humanity in a way that makes one a human being. In Europe, it's so easy to get so isolated and lonely. Here, you don't get lonely. There's always someone intruding or coming at you, which has a great humility about it.
And what's it doing to your art, do you think?
I really don't know. It relaxes me so I can work more and work in a more relaxed manner. That's not an easy question to answer. I really don't know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
But where next does John Kingerlee go? Life in Ireland is at the end of the ocean. America is beyond the horizon, and nothing there is as it has been in the life so far of the artist. But his work grows here. In the midst of a busy and different land, there is to be found an openness that craves to hear more of Kingerlee. This is the land of the Wild West, of art that finds its origins in a heroic past, a history that shaped the present. Alan Barnes is an Englishman who has worked in Dallas for 17 years and now garners the interest that's developing in the work of the artist from the old world across the ocean.
John Kingerlee is that little bit special. I think that John brings a lot of feeling and a lot of emotion from his past and present life into his works. I think if you study John's work, you'll see tremendous amounts of texture in his application, something that reflects, I think, on the landscape of Southern Ireland and where he's from. Contemporary art, John Kingerlee, yes, commodity. I believe he is a commodity, but it's more than that. It's more than the money, what somebody pays for a painting or the painting fetches. It's really the soulful side of John Kingerlee that people are actually buying into or investing in at this time, the early stages of John's career in the United States. Something needs to be new, something needs to be replaced, if you like, in the international art field to represent the 21st century. And I believe the work of John Kingerlee will take that stand.
Nowhere is John Kingerlee more valued than in the home in Dallas of Jerry and Ginny Lancourt. The couple are avid collectors and welcome any opportunity to sing the praises of their artistic guru.
So this is where? This is your Kingerlee Hall.
We're going into my Kingerlee Hall here. We have most of our Kingerlees here, and also in the bedrooms. The first thing when I get up in the morning, I see the creation Kingerlee that I call
It's
it.
amazing that you call it the creation Kingerlee, because Kingerlee is very much about creation, very much about the guttural things of earth, the fundamental things.
Well, that's what I think is happening here, and you really have to study these pictures for several hours, because it's called the landscape, but it's not. It's the earth. It's creation. There's the inner part of the earth, and there are people around looking at. Someone's leaving, but someone's staring and looking. There's someone looking there. This is fire and sun.
Yes.
And I've heard someone describe it as Dante's Inferno, but it's not Dante's Inferno because there's nothing unpleasant about this. This is just the mystical aspects of the earth and creation, and what we're looking, where we come from and how we relate to it. This is the people relating to the earth, and this is the surrounding atmosphere.
And the bookends, if you like, of observation, the people looking into the depths of the earth and taking from it.
Right. There's someone looking in, there's someone running away, there's someone else looking in, and that's the depths of the earth. And it's just a fascinating picture. It just relates us to the creation of the earth. There's religion, and there's the mystical forces of nature, and I can look inside Kingerlee's mind when I see this picture.
Further down the Kingerlee corridor.
Yeah, growing
This, of
up.
course, is your favorite.
That is my favorite.
Tell me about this one.
Well, this one is a guardian, and this guardian is my guardian, not just Kingerlee's guardian. It's mine, and this guardian protects me.
Yeah.
And I feel peaceful about that. And so that's my favorite picture, even though it's a smaller one than the other ones. It has much meaning for me. It's one of the things that whenever I saw it the very first time, I said, I want this.
Yeah.
You can see the guardian right there. He's looking over me.
Yeah.
He is taking care of me. What I like about it is the green in the background is more like life, and then the red is the vibrance of the human life, and he's made just for me.
Okay, we'll go on to the inner sanctum now. The place where Kingerlee's great creation picture is.
Well, that's what I put it
on there.
I put it right over my. I think that this is.
Yeah.
I think this is the most special picture that I've ever seen of Kingerlee. And we bought it very shortly after we saw it because we were so impressed by it. I think we're very lucky to have it. I'm almost think that other people need to see this picture. It's so great, but I'm very happy to have it because to me it's called a landscape, but that's really not what it is. This is creation. This marries his mystical and his religious, and all this is the earth. This is the Big Bang. That's creation, and there's Adam and Eve. And he marries the religious, the metaphysical, and this is the world. This is the creation of the world.
It's remarkable that a picture like this can be related to the canvas, put down on the canvas by Kingerlee.
Well, the amazing thing to me is how long you have to study these pictures. I mean, I've been looking at pictures my whole life, and you look at the great ones, and you look for a few minutes. I know some of the big art critics look for hours, but these are the first pictures that I can really look at for hours.
Yes.
And I can study them, and every time I see them, I see something different.
There's nothing simple about them.
No.
There's a complexity there that contains a beauty as well.
Well, the complexity of layers is reflected in the complexity of thoughts. Each layer has a different thought, and then he combines them all, and you sit there in awe, thinking, my golly, what am I gonna see next?
Yes. It poses more questions than it answers.
Well, I think that, I mean, if you read all the science, there are more questions. I mean, the origin of the universe has not been totally worked out, so I wouldn't expect that he would be able to, you know, tell us any more than, you know, than Albert Einstein knew. But it certainly, it discusses the origin of the universe, discusses religion, discusses natural forces, and that's what, I mean, for mankind has always worked on trying to understand the relationship of natural forces and religion, and he discusses them both, and I can tell from looking at this picture that he is an intensely religious man and also deeply into the metaphysics of nature.
John returns to Morocco, where he meets again with old friend Bill Zimmer, a leading art critic from the United States. Bill is interested in John's multi-medium collage genre and explains what he sees to be the importance of the work.
Here they are, Bill. This has been going on for over a month. I'm travelling with them on buses, trains, aeroplanes, boats. They're not finished, nothing's finished. And as they go along, one side is going to get as interesting as the other side.
Accident has been the hallmark of art for, let's say, the past 100 years, but he pushes it even further. He's not afraid to let things just happen. He's almost a scientist to say, you know, put this down and let's see what happens. And so it's a good attitude. He's shepherding it, he's bossing it, but it's also telling him something.
Pencils
so it's a nice dialogue he has with the materials.
Anyway, there you go, Bill. There it all is. This I'll build up solid. And I like the way it goes. You can be working on the middle of a sheet of paper. This blotting paper effect is what's revealed when both of the back and front have disappeared. That's the middle, what's between.
Art has a lot of mystique around it, and it's deliberately cultivates that. How much is, you know, God-given, how much is me, how much is speaking through me. So, and John plays with that. You don't know, because he talks about it coming from somewhere else, but then you know he's very carefully doing it. You know, the kind of paper, the texture, the color. You know, he's sort of guiding every moment. What I look for, and I guess I first saw his art about a year ago, is analogies. Like he'll put on a postage stamp that has the same color and shape as something over here that just happened by accident, you know. And somebody say, I didn't do that deliberately, but there it is. The collages, they have these remnants, like a postage stamp or an airline boarding pass of a human person having lived, you know. So they're like the detritus maybe of a person, but they're also signs of humanity in this stuff. That, you know, life is really lived on that level of these days, especially of airplanes and stamps. Communication, because both, you know, are transport.
The intelligent bit is recognizing what you've got. So if you're using chance and accident, that is in this. The really mindful bit, the conscious bit, is suddenly recognizing something that's good, something that's worthwhile, even though it quite arrived at by an accident. Well, I really like the way this one's coming on, and as I look at it now, I see that this here, these black marks here, that was something written on a page. I've stuck it down, and what we've got there is the actual centre of a sheet of paper ripped away. So we're working there on what the middle of a page of paper. Well, I find that thrilling, to not be on your average surface. Well, that one I talked about, this here is coming. I like the way, I like these flaps now. If I stick this down here, or stick it down there, it's a different thing. I just have to recognize which is, it'll tell me. This here, yeah, I like that. I do that one straight away.
That yellow there's really nice. That gives me a hole there. So I need to put something behind there, which could be of a lighter colour or darker. That's a darker colour. So we've got that hole blocked out. We've got another flap here doing its thing. This way or that way. And it's best of all when it's does itself, it all becomes choiceless. The piece says, it's me, it's me, it's me, and you just do it. You move it. It's almost as though it talks to you, commands you. That's the really good part. So one's usual ego, it disappears. And what's nicer than getting away from oneself? That's one of the joyful aspects of being an artist, writing a book, painting a picture, composing music. It's you get away from your everyday self. That vanishes. Almost the whole world vanishes. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. The big problem is always oneself.